Hi, everyone. Welcome to the new semester. It's great to see everyone again. I am responding to Dr. Wilcox's line of privilege video and actually the activity that we had to do earlier. So I scored in the negative, and I am not curious why because I have a fairly good idea why that is based on the questions that were asked. But this actually made me stop and reflect, as I normally do, on the students that I teach, because there are times during my school days actually, where I, as a teacher, have to be mother, counselor, and play various roles in my students' lives. And I think the way I grew up made it easier for me to relate to all the different issues that my kids faced. Uh, some of the questions that were asked really had me going back to memories that I'd rather not have, but exist and made me a better person. It also allowed me to think about how being privileged can be an asset in this country, especially. When I grew up in Jamaica, there were very little, or maybe one or two instances that now I can say might have shown that there is some form of prejudice that exists, but I really didn't know of it. The only thing I knew about racism or prejudice was the fact that there was apartheid in South Africa and Nelson Mandela was in jail because of this. Apart from that, I had very little experiences that would actually let me feel like something was wrong and I was being treated differently. That did not happen until I migrated here and started experiencing differences in how I was treated compared to my counterparts of a different color. However, that has only made me stronger. I always look at instances where there's negative or what I consider negativity and try to turn it into a positive factor in my life. I also grew up in an environment where I had both parents in my home. Even though my dad did not work for most of the years that I went through high school, my mom worked hard enough for both of them and made sure that we all went through high school. And college was not something that was available to me right out of high school because of financial issues, but as soon as I was able to work and send myself to school, I made that very relevant to my life. And that I've seen my mom at the age of 55 went back to school to get her LPN license, and that served as an additional motivation not only for me and my siblings but also for her grandchildren, because it showed them and it showed us that the sky is the limit. There are a lot of issues that was brought to the forefront when I did this, and it pertains to my students. And being in a school where there's several immigrants as well as kids that were born here, and most of the immigrants may not even have a green card or here illegally, and I see the difference, how hard they work compared to the kids that have lived here for a very long time, and how very little they work for, and the expectation from them that they will be handed everything they want on a platter, and knowing that the kids who are here illegally have no expectation but just know that they need to work very hard. And I wish and hope that it's something that can be changed where our kids realize that they need to value education and they need to value how hard their parents work to make it possible for them to be here, and that privilege is not something that is given but that is earned. And this is where I'll end, and I'm sure we'll discuss this more as the semester progresses.